Hello guys, Bean here and I'm back with another Reddit video, and today I have r/IDontWorkHereLady. Before I get into the video, make sure to like and subscribe if you like the content and want to keep up the Reddit videos daily. And secondly, I've pretty much made edits on my cuts and stuff, so tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Let's get right into the video. This one's titled, I work in the hospital, not for the hospital. I'm sorry in advance for being long-winded. I'll put a TLDR at the end. I'm also posting on mobile, so again, I'm sorry for any formatting errors. I used to work at a coffee shop that was inside a major hospital. Its employees don't work for the hospital itself. All of the baristas' contracts are with the small business itself, and none of the baristas have any clearance to go anywhere that isn't already accessible to the general public. Most of the baristas could get to places that were nearby or important. The nearest entrance, the main entrance, elevators, the bathrooms on our floor, the gift shop, the cafeteria, etc. But none of us knew the layout of the hospital because we aren't allowed in most of the hospital. People often ask the baristas for directions because our cafe is in a more centralized location than the information desk, and a couple of college students in aprons are far less intimidating than hospital security guards. The hospital is pretty clearly labelled and has a lot of maps, but people often aren't in the best frame of mind while they're visiting people in there, so it can get confusing. We try to help as much as we can and not to take rudeness too seriously. It's usually not a problem, usually. Receptionists work very long and very stressful shifts. When the shop has a rush, it has a rush. And as a result, our island counter of various creams and sweeteners needs to be refilled frequently. During one such rush, a regular customer asked me to bring out a new canister, a 2% milk, and to refill the sugar shakers. My co-worker offered to make the order we'd already taken, so I came out to restock the counter. Entitled Lady EL saw me while I was wiping down the counter after refilling everything. She approached me as I turned to walk back to the register area behind the main counter. EL, excuse me, can you take me to room number? I can't remember the specific door number, but it's really not relevant besides the fact that I started with the number 4. Me, no, sorry, I don't know where that is and I can't go to most places in here. I assume it's on the 4th floor since it starts with 4. Maybe one of the volunteers or guards can guide you. As we talk, I tried to move around her so I can get back to work, but she moved back in front of me to block me. EL, that's ridiculous! You work in the hospital, but you don't know how to get around in it? Don't make me laugh. Me, no, really EL, my father was admitted last night and I need to see him. You need to take me to his room right now. Me, ma'am, I'm just a barista. I'm not allowed in. EL, if you don't cut the crap, I'll have you fired. Me, ma'am. EL, who is your manager? My father needs me, and you won't bring me to him. You have no compassion. What is wrong with you? At this point, it was pretty obvious that I was being harassed. The people still in line clearly saw what was going on, but no one wanted to lose their spot, so none of them intervened. Typical. My co-worker went into the back to phone security while one of the nurses waiting on her order started walking down the hall towards the nearest security station. I know help is on the way and I just kind of give up and stop talking. Since EL is facing me, she has her back to the shop and probably doesn't know she's in trouble. She's furious that I've stopped responding to her. After only a few minutes of being berated, I see the nurse returning with 2 guards. E1, one of the senior security staff, and G2, a newish guard shadowing him. G1, what's going on? G1 moves in front of me so she can't yell directly at me. G2 turns to me and starts asking if I'm okay, but is interrupted. EL, finally! This employee is refusing to help me find my father's room. He's sick and he needs me. I need to speak to her manager and then I need to go to him. He's in room number. G1, ma'am, please calm down. This is Red Riding Wolves and she is the manager of the coffee shop. If you need a coffee or have a problem with something that the cafe sold you, She can help you. She can't take you to your father. Only relevant staff and verified visitors are allowed in that area. EL. That's ridiculous. She works for a hospital. Why shouldn't she take me to where I need to go in the hospital? Don't. G1. Ma'am, if you don't calm down, my colleague and I will have to escort you out of the property and may not be welcome back. If you need help finding your room, you can ask one of the volunteers at the information center. While EL is busy huffing at G1, G2 walks with me to my counter so I can get back to work. G1 ended up walking her to an information center, while G2 kept an eye on me and my co-worker. We made them their usual drink on the house as a thank you. I told my work group chat to make sure that the nurse that got them here had her next drink on the house as well. To my best of my knowledge, EL wasn't banned from the hospital campus, but that was fine with me. I know people don't always behave their best under extreme stress. I just hope EL didn't hamper her father's recovery. Moral of the story is, even if you are the manager and you don't technically own the franchise, apparently you can give out free drinks. So if I was the security guards, I would just get people to just act batshit crazy so I get free drinks. Too bad I'm talking about the real story. Not a lady, but was accidentally on the receiving end of an I don't work here moment. This happened the other day. I was doing a bit of shopping, just grabbing some stuff to cook a meal, and I was struggling to find some ingredients. I looked around for a staff member for help. I thought I had found a staff member and approached him. As I walked up, I asked if he could help me find something. He turned around and I immediately realized he didn't work for the store, and I tried to apologize, but before I could say anything, he told me in a very loud, irritated voice, "Fuck off. I don't work here," and he proceeded to walk away. I was a bit shook with, but ultimately brushed it off and finished my shopping. I did find an actual employee to help me a bit later. That's my story. Not a big story, but just showing how easy it is to be on the receiving end of a "I don't work here." The guy was a bit rude though. This has happened to my sister, because she's a smart person who went to Sainsbury's, or worked in Sainsbury's, wore their uniform and went Tesco's. And everybody thought she worked in Tesco's because they just saw the uniform and just assumed. This is titled "Everyone Keep a Cool Head." This happened 25 years ago. I'd been called back from an overseas posting. My father had a succession of heart attacks and it didn't look good. 30 hours emergency compassionate fights later and I was back in Australia from Germany. I moved in with my mother to help her. She didn't realise just how bad things were. 1 AM, phone call from the hospital. "Come now." My mother didn't appreciate the gravity of the situation, that we had to go immediately. I slowly told her that yes, it was time to panic, just calmly, as my father had told me the previous day when he was still in the reasonable shape. Everybody keep a cool head. We got there and my mother stayed outside the ward, as by this time the realization was starting to hit. I entered the ward and my father was there, conscious, but then went into a full cardiac arrest as I was walking to him. You've probably all seen the event in reality TV shows. The crash cart, the paddles, injection of adrenaline directing into the heart, the well-coordinated professional team in action. It was important that the patient be reassured. So I held his hand and commanded him to stay with me. Keep breathing, only letting go and putting my hands up when the paddles were applied. Everyone came running. Some specialists in civils still groggy at being roused from sleep at home. Other duty staff in scrubs. The team got and restarted. The sweetest sinus rhythm I've ever seen on a monitor. No more tombstones. I just kept out of the way. First rule in such situations, and let those who knew what they were doing do their job while I provided calm but forceful patient support. According to them, I made the difference. As they did this, a gaggle of interns came up, also keeping out of the way and observing. Crashes like this with a successful outcome, textbook cases, a rare, maybe 1 in 4 resurrections are successful. They needed to learn, as like everyone there, they had to be both compassionate and coolly professional. As I backed away, the only one there not completely busy putting gear away, attaching monitors, etc., one of the interns asked me about the patient's history and other details. I had to say I wasn't part of the medical team, I was just the patient's daughter, just keeping a cool head as my daddy wanted me to. Not quite the usual "I don't work here lady" story, but close enough. It also has the virtue of being true. This lady's throwing shots saying other people's stories aren't true, but then she said just as she walked in she saw her dad and he just had a heart attack. Seems a bit off to me, but like, I'm not calling it fake. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. That's the end of the video. Hope you guys like, comment, subscribe. Peace out.